Parashat Balak. Interesting parsha. One of the fundamental questions of this week's parsha is, what's in a curse? Balak Melech Moav is obviously terrified, Vayagar Moav, of the Jewish people. In Yeshivat, in Haaretz, we're a massive people. So he sends messengers to Bilaam, a non-Jewish prophet, Lecha arali, Lecha na arali et ha'amazeh. Go and curse this people. And the entire parsha is about Hashem wants Bilaam to curse the Jewish people, doesn't want him. Bilaam wants to, should he, shouldn't he? Do they get cursed? They ultimately get blessed. Really? What's the difference? We're a blessed people. Hashem blessed us. Hashem chose us. Right? Ki bachar banu mikol ha'amim. Right? Mevarchecha avarech umekalel cha'or. Hashem tells Avraham Avinu, you will be blessed. And that's the end of the story. Whether we're blessed or not may have to do with how we behave. It shouldn't be dependent on how Bilaam behaved. What's the issue with Bilaam cursing the Jewish people? So Racham Alevich quotes of Yosef ibn Kaspi, who suggests a very interesting idea. And I remember when I was in the army, when you went on a patrol, there was a one-time pad that they would give you, a shabtzak, what's called a shibutz kravi. This was a lesson learned from the Yom Kippur War, when crews were thrown into tanks to stop the advance of the Syrians and the Egyptians. And they didn't know who was in the tank. They didn't know what happened. People were burned. It was a terrible story after the war. How do you identify the bodies? So after that experience, every commander in every combat position fills out one of these pads before he goes out on patrol. Right? There are 4 copies. And on each of the copies, right, you write on top of the pad the name and serial number of every member of the crew. So for example, if I'm in a tank, you have to fill out the name and serial number of the driver, the loader, the gunner, and of course the commander. There are 4 copies. One stays with the commander of the unit, the officer. One goes to the radio room. One goes to the personnel, the shalishut, right, etc. You can't do this in advance. This has to be done literally when you're about to go out on patrol, because obviously if someone switches the driver, the whole idea is moot. What do you do on Shabbat? Shabbat morning, you're on the border in Lebanon or anywhere. You have to go out on a patrol and you have to fill out one of these one-time pads. Can you do it on Shabbat? Of course, as with many things, you didn't think about this in advance. You're in the army. This was long before I was wearing my rabbi's hat. I'm all of 19 years old, and I'm not sure what to do. And I understand this is an important idea. So fortunately, I had a sefer in my pocket, Rabbi Avraham Min HaHar's Dinei Tzava U'Melchama, and he has a fascinating teshuva, a fascinating response on this topic. He quotes the Shulchan Aruch with an interesting case. If a woman is blind and giving birth, she's a chola sheyesh ba sakana, she's a woman in danger, she's in the midst of childbirth, and she wants you to light a candle in the room on Shabbat, because she wants everybody to be able to see when they're delivering her baby, but she's blind. So she doesn't need the light. And she might not even know if you light the candle, right? But she'll hear whether you light the candle. Are you allowed to light a candle on Shabbat if you don't feel you need it? So Shulchan Aruch rules that you are absolutely allowed to light that candle. You may even be obligated to allow that candle. Based on that idea, Rabbi Avraham Min HaHar says, not only are you allowed to fill out the one-time pad, you must do it. And you shouldn't do it b'shinu with some kind of different kind of writing. You should write it with your right hand and write it clearly. If you make a mistake, you should write it again. Because the idea behind a one-time pad, among many other, is that when a soldier goes out to battle, he knows that the Israeli army has his back. And that contributes to his morale. And the morale of a soldier is part of his ability to accomplish his mission. Rav Yosef ibn Kaspi suggests, he was 14th century in Provence, he suggests that the issue here is morale. It's not about the reality of whether the Jewish people will be blessed or cursed. If the Jewish people feel that they've been cursed by this great prophet, then their morale will be in the toilet. They'll feel cursed. This is actually a similar idea to the spies, right? When the spies come back, the Meraglim, right? We were like grasshoppers in the eyes of these giants, and so we were in their eyes. If you think you're a grasshopper, suggests Rav Soloveitchik, then you are a grasshopper, right? We live in challenging times. The world is undergoing so many challenges. A not small part of this puzzle is how we feel about the world around us. Do we see Hashem's hands? do we know that despite all the challenges we have today, we are truly blessed? Because if we feel blessed, then we are blessed. That perhaps is one of the central messages of Parashat Balak. Yehi Ratzon. Shabbat Shalom.